I think it was about 3 years ago. My good friend from Verbier, that's where we both met, but Miles came into the whole project about 6 months into the shop being open. But it started by a good friend Paul, who came down and started this whole like urban market project where it was like a, you know, selling vegetables, kitchen, farm to table kind of style, sustainable. I saw this room, which was actually 4 rooms. This was actually 4 rooms.
Okay.
And
so you broke the walls?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was meant to be, you know, yoga, just a yoga studio and stuff, but I just saw it and just invaded it. And I had a few records to sell. It was meant to be a pop-up, but then I just ended up staying for a bit longer. And it started getting quite a bit of traction internationally. The only person I can speak to about music and we DJ together was Miles, and we've been friends for ages. So he came in and we joined forces, and he's got the van, so he goes around, collects all the, sniffs out all the best record collections in Europe. Well, the ones that we can actually find and see. You have to be really on it.
There's a lot of people after the same thing, isn't there?
Yeah, everyone wants the cheap, good tunes.
Obviously,
of course. Yeah.
But we feel like we've been quite lucky. I think because obviously we both based in Switzerland, but we're both from the UK. We have quite a few good contacts in the UK, like DJs, friends of DJs, collectors, and we seem to have done quite well on the style and the quality of music that has come from the UK so far. We still get little collections from within Switzerland, which are always great, but with the big bulk have been from the UK.
Yeah, the ones that the stuff that everyone seems to be knocking on our doors for straight away on a Thursday is all the unknown 90s stuff, which is that's all from the UK.
That's what you do here. A lot of basically most
all dance music specialists, all second hand.
All second hand, apart from that slim pillar.
Yeah,
which is very handpicked from the new releases.
Yeah, we just
throughout the year.
Yeah, we it's good. You know, you want to support all the new labels coming out, and we've got a lot of friends now that are making music. Some really good releases this year, so we like to highlight those, and as we're gaining like more followers as well, so everyone supports each other, and you know it is really nice to have in the shop. And you know, every now and then people like to, you know, come in for the new stuff but leave with mostly old stuff. There's only, you know, it's 98% old stuff and barely 2% new stuff.
Yeah, well, it's cool to have that, but and just my curiosity. I have a friend, my friend that owns the Espace 032 in the Châtel, it's a record shop. He was doing the kind of how do you say? Like he goes to Netherlands to big spots where they sold a lot of records. You can go buy huge lots of record in Netherlands in big hangar. I don't know.
Like a warehouse.
Yeah, like something like that. Like a market that is organized every year. So if you don't know about, maybe
I mean, there's so many angles you can take to you know get good record collections.
There you go.
If you if you've got the connections already of DJs that, you know, sometimes you can get lucky and you've got a DJ that, you know, was really on the scene in the 90s and just wants to sell their old stuff, and they don't really care about going into it and listing individually, which is really rare to find. Then, you know, that's exactly the thing we're looking for. But there are other ways, like going to big warehouses and, you know, going in and just, you know, buying big lots and stuff. I find that there is way more consistency and quality when you buy in old collections, but that's what everyone wants to buy as well. So.
Yeah, for sure. And you work as well with local artists, you said?
Yeah, I mean, we started doing straight away when we opened the shop. We were doing in-store sessions, which was basically just open decks. So, but then it started to become a thing where local collectives really wanted to come play. So we had to start organising it a little bit, doing artwork, and then the week that collective would be in the shop DJing, they would all come in and buy records to play at their gig. So it worked really well for us and for them, to give them a nice
I think
bit of
some of
exposure.
them as well, not all of them, but some of them would sometimes play digitally, and because they're then playing in a record shop and it's vinyl only, they have to obviously okay, cool,
Yeah.
obviously pack some nice records and pack a bag up. And obviously some people are vinyl only and they don't own a USB, and some people are just getting turntables or they're just getting a record collection. But at the start as well, the shop was only, well, at the start the shop was open all the time, and then we were only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we would maybe have 2 nights of the 4 to be people playing. So instead of us putting on a mix, it was so much nicer to have a busy shop, and then the music's nicer, the vibe's nicer, because we're sit above Le Gram downstairs, people can get beers, food, coffees.
Yeah, the whole building is just like kind of, people just circulating upstairs, downstairs, eating dinner, coming with their
Like
partners.
a cultural space.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole, when the whole building is alive, that's the best. I mean, obviously now no full buildings can be alive, but it's now with the locals and stuff, everyone's really enjoying reserving turntables. That's the only way we can work right now. I think that is the future of us, because especially in a second-hand record shop, which is just, there's so many tunes you need to go through to pick exactly your taste. Is that my phone? Is that yours or not mine? Anyway, you want a turntable that you can just stay on all for your whole session. If you've got like a shop full of people and everyone's like queuing up for a turntable, I mean, we've got VIP sections where things are a bit more expensive, wrapped up nicely, but a lot of the shop and a lot of the revenue from the shop comes from, tatty records that, it's a white label and no one's heard of this, and you're trying to find that, and you need your turntable just to go through loads of tunes.
It's a real digger's shop. I feel like it's a real digger shop.
Yeah.
With all those second hands, like you come here to find
there's all sorts
the
of ways.
records you
have to
won't find
listen to
everything.
a lot.
Yeah.
Because you probably won't know about the artists because it's kind of old and
well, that's what I was saying about now we've got these new sections, because we know our customers, we know they're all diggers, and we know the flavours they're after.
Yeah.
So we have the selected sections, which are very much to save time. Like, you just, this is the flavours of the shop, we know you'll like it. This is why we like it, and it's worth just highlighting and having its own little section.
And also sometimes we get in like collectives or collectors from who are locally, or they book an appointment and we sort of know what they're after. So say you get someone in who's a techno DJ. Okay, cool, we can have a little quick we think you might like this, we think you might like that. The appointment thing is actually working really well.
We can really personalise it, like all these boys that came in, like one of them, Nicholas, who's in all the time. I know that he's going to go for the house, and I know that his favourite DJ is Sugar Free, and I know that he wants that stripped back party house music and from the 90s, and I can just that's his section, and he bought it all today. And then Shay, Lawrence, who comes in from Ticino every other week, which is so flattering. He likes the more electro techno stuff, so I can see for 2 weeks they've reserved the turntables, so we can make sure those sections are good for them. And
like the last time he came in, for example, even the new stuff, we could, as he knows what the shop is about and he's in a turntable, we went through, passing some of the. By the way, this is a new release that someone has tips us off with, or it's from a friend, but we think you might like it, and they always seem to be happy with what we suggest. And
I think we enjoy it just as much as them. And obviously now they've become very comfortable and start playing on the sound system out
Yeah,
loud.
yeah.
Which at first, I mean, you know, if you've got the doors open to the public all the time, you can't do that because he just scares everyone away.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a weird, you know, atmosphere, just skipping through tunes and jumping around with your friends, going, "Look what I found." But when it's their shop
In private, yeah.
they're allowed to do it, and it's really nice. We all kind of
There's
interact.
not much record shop where you can play on the sound system.
No.
To be honest.
Especially
So
right
this
now,
allows
there's no
it.
gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't show off tunes. You can't play out night. You have to just, oh, this is nice. I found this. I think this would work. And they're chatting about it. What do you think about this? I don't know, but I don't know. It's a nice vibe when it's busy, but it's also private. It's weird, and it also means that, for example, on a Thursday, Friday afternoon, when no one walks into the shop, maybe for a couple of hours, we can actually get on with a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because there's so much work behind the scenes of, you know, like the selector bags, the digger bags, Christmas bags, whatever, like, you know, all the admin or just the Discogs orders or the online or the website. There's just all these different.
I think any record shop owner will say that there's just, you know, as soon as your door's open and there's people in the shop,
You're
there
busy.
isn't that much you can do. Like, you know, you can be with your headphones on and start, you know, going through tunes, but the tune game, like, it's a messy game. You need a lot of space, you know, especially if you're doing international packages, and a lot of the international packages we do, they are specific to customers' tastes. So there's piles everywhere.
This is
you know,
the digger selected bags that we do.
Yeah,
where
so
they're like basically for the people who aren't local to the shop or can't come to the shop. Instead of just buying online on other websites, they can pay for a selected bag, which is under 2 kilograms, because that's just the shipping, you know, the efficient shipping. So it's 8 records, and they often will just say, I'm after 8 records, trust you guys, I really like tech house from the 90s, for example. And we go, great, got loads of that, let's just go into the shelves.
It's
don't
not-
like that, don't like that.
it's never that
That's
simple
not
though,
good.
but yeah, that's the gist of it.
We
That's
make
it.
some kind of surprise package.
We make
surprise
It's
package,
not a
yeah.
surprise package. I mean, it used to be a surprise package,
Yeah, not so surprising.
but it's not anymore. No, it's because everyone's asking very
Very
specific.
specific. I want 1991, 92 or 93 Belgium techno only.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Right, okay.
Okay. That's kind of specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, when people get that specific, it also is great. It's great for us because
The
everyone's got
challenge.
so much different,
Yeah.
so much taste, like the difference in taste. So if someone's wanting like, you know, 90s breakbeat, not too electro, more on the techno side of things, then, you know, we can actually go in and we can get them and we can use that. If someone just goes on breakbeat, you know, we could miss it massively. And in the past, that's where we've had a few negative feedbacks, but in total, with all the bags we've done, I'm not sure how many bags we've done, but we've done hundreds all over the world, and we've only had 4 or 5 negative feedbacks, and they were mostly from the time where we were not being so cautious on the specifics.
Okay.
And to be fair, on those handful of packages where people
We fixed
actually
them, yeah.
weren't happy, we resent them tunes to be like, okay, well,
I'm sure
we're not happy if you're not happy,
Yeah.
and we're not doing it just to give you shit tunes.
I am sure
but
there is people that don't like their bags and haven't said anything
and a polite.
and are polite, just like I would be, you wouldn't be. But anyway, it's
But
part
I
of the
mean,
thing.
in a way, if you trust the record shop owners and say, okay, make me discover something, in a
I
way.
think it's part of the surprise as well. Like, you buy into the surprise. I mean, how exciting is it to like wait for some tunes to come? That's like you kind of paying for that.
We had a guy in Italy who bought a bag the first time. He didn't like it. He told us he didn't like the bag. He said it was just off. It must have been just off the heat. but I won't order again. And that makes me think like, oh, he appreciated the service, he appreciated what we were doing, he just
didn't
quite like the tunes.
He said hopefully I get a bit luckier next time.
But then he really likes the second bag, and I don't think from our end we did anything different because we still packed
a good bag. Like every single bag, we tried to do a really good bag.
We tried to make sure that each one is,
It's just become a massive part of our business now. It's kept us alive, really. The surprise bags, digger bags, Christmas bags, selective bags have just been rebranded several times, and yeah, it's definitely kept us alive, hasn't it?
Guys, I just need. Maybe can I use the charger before the computer?
Yeah,
because it's the last shop, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. The battery is good then. Perfect. And so, just maybe to go on a bit, how is it going on for you guys with the COVID? Actually, with the restriction.
Well, that's the surprise bags are what came from COVID. The shop had to shut. We had to somehow sell records.
I mean, luckily, the year we had before we closed, we were trying to push social media, and not having any plan behind it, just posting about the shop, and people seemed to quite like it, and then when COVID hit, because of all that work, and kind of we had a little bit of recognition, and a few customers. Well, we didn't have a website, we didn't have any of this kind of thing. COVID really forced us to have an online way to buy stuff and
also,
to dig. And
I was in the UK because I went back to
pick up a collection.
Pick up a huge collection.
He was stuck in the UK.
But then got stuck in the UK. So we had bought 5,000 records, 3 different collections. And you, at the time, were running around Lausanne and the shop.
I was on my bike. I was actually going around on my bike posting surprise bags to people because it was basically just all the locals.
The local customers.
Yeah.
And then it went from the local customers to social media through Switzerland.
Yeah.
And then
I was like, well, you're in the UK.
I've got all this new stock in records. There'll be some good stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a way to do it. And shipping was actually cheaper from the UK.
Of course it was.
So
that's the hard thing about Switzerland is
the shipping. Is really expensive.
We have to really make it worth your while.
Yeah.
Like
it's the hardest thing about running a business in Switzerland, I would say, is the shipping.
I mean, if you're really pushing to a Swiss audience, which we're 50-50, like 50% of our business comes from the locals.
No. Oh, from the locals.
Yeah, from the locals.
Yeah.
And then 50% comes from
online. It's
like
90.
Yeah, of course.
International.
Yeah, of course it is. But
so you sell a lot on Discogs as well.
We sell a lot on Discogs. We sell a lot on our website. Well, I mean, it's probably about a third from appointments, a third from Discogs, and a third from our website.
Okay.
Discogs is tough though because we're Swiss, which is great.
We're the most expensive shipping you can get.
Shipping. But
I mean, you're kind of in a specific range that I would say most of the record shop in my experience that I visited, when we get to some house, trance and techno old 90s, it's the shitty bag. It's the shitty bag in the corner of the shop. It's not, something that is pushed to and where that is worked to be something interesting. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah. I mean, that's the first thing that I'll go look at if I go to the record shops is those dirty old records in the corner. I suppose this is just a big reflection of our own personal taste, what we want in a record shop. And I know that's, when we first came, the record, when I first started the shop, it was just a side project. Like I've got a full-time job. I organise events and book DJs and stuff in the ski resort Verbier. Now I don't do that anymore for obvious reasons. But it was never meant to be a 100% thing. It was just a way to justify paying for my own records myself. And the welcoming I got when I was here, there was just, I mean, it's not quite. It's not. If you open up a record shop anywhere, it has to be a really shit city for it not to work. And of course, Lausanne is an amazing city, so of course it's going to work. Just needed. We're a bit out of the way, so we didn't have that footfall. Renens is quite up and coming, isn't it? It's not like middle of Lausanne. I'm sure we'd have had a lot more people in the door if we were in Lausanne. Mm-hmm. But I think with the kind of people that are willing to come and travel to just to the outskirts, mm-hmm. It kind of made it like just a really nice welcoming, a really nice vibe. Oh, you're willing to make the effort, and then it was kind of a really nice welcoming, and then it turned into something more than a side project, especially when he started being involved.
You can tell as well, like when you were saying that when you go to some shops and the second-hand collection is just really small, but the actual shop, the new selection is the majority of the shop. I would say that from the last 12 months or so, or however long I've been here, that you can tell that the people that come into the shop, they used to go into the new stuff. Oh,
mm-hmm.
Cool. They go straight to
right.
that, have a listen, that's great, and then they go on to the second hand. Whereas, like the guys tonight, mm-hmm. they went straight onto the shelves, because they sort of like, they understand that we've gone through a lot of shit, mm-hmm. a lot of tunes to put those records on the shelf, and then they nipped into that at the very end, and that's sort of the dynamic of the shop, and that shift has changed the mentality of.
And I mean, you talk about the dusty old trance records from the 90s, mm-hmm. and we've been through more than you could ever fucking imagine to make our shelf. Probably 80 tunes in the trance section, but it's all good. It's all that, but to get that stuff that's good, and we're happy and we're proud of it to be on the shelves. We go through thousands of trance records, because trances are probably a bad example, because it's the biggest electronic music genre in the 90s, and a lot of it is terrible. But yeah, I mean, it's probably our biggest section right now, isn't it? We need to do a Christmas push on that. But yeah, anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. What was the original question?
The question was about sections. I mean,
new stuff.
It changed all the time. I mean,
is...
at the start, there was a huge tech house.
Yeah,
section, but that was because the original stock that you bought from the UK was from Swag Records, which was an old record shop in London in the 90s during the peak of tech house, which the shop closed down. In the early 2000s because of the digitalisation of music and blah blah blah. Anyway, a DJ was sat on it for 10-15 years. It's ended up in Switzerland. Fantastic, but obviously there was a lot of tech house in a tech house shop.
Mm-hmm. That's all been bought now. So there must be just all the local DJs must be just got loads of tech house.
Yeah,
it's all good stuff though. Like it's the best.
Really good.
It's the
Club
UK Tech House 1998.
Do you have like an example maybe that you could show?
Definitely.
A record
or an interview. Definitely. If you put a little video link.
Yeah. We'll give you a tune. What like right now?
Yeah, if you have like if now you say okay, this tune in Tech House. That's what I mean to illustrate a bit what you can find.
Perfect. Something like Gideon Jackson, just a 90s white label tech house tune from Swag Records. This was.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, you can show it. Wait.
So
this isn't getting on YouTube, is it?
I don't know what's going to happen with this.
Should have put a beanie on.
Shiny head over there.
It's funny in Switzerland, like, I've just had a haircut.
You've got a very UK haircut.
They go, do you want gel or wax at the end? I'm like, no, it looks really good. It looks really good. So nice. No, you want gel or wax? Oh, okay, a little bit of wax. It's like huge, like came out like. Yeah, this sort of rolling bass line, this classic like UK tech house of that scene. Gideon Jackson would have so many just really nice clubby.
It's groovy with the percussion.
It's
just really just classy. Like,
it's quite fast. Some of it's quite fast because in the 90s most records were fast.
It's not a problem. I mean,
it's not a problem because you can always pitch them down. Not obviously so much, but like it's definitely groovier than techno. It's definitely bit more partier than a lot of house, and it doesn't have the vocals and the pianos and the strings that a lot of 90s house has. So I think there's
I think that's the thing that I myself I'm a bit. Sometimes I found some old records. And they're really cool, and you have a shitty vocal on it, and you're like, damn, I won't play that.
I completely understand when
I mean, everything rocks, but the vocal makes...
I would say that tech house, generally as a genre, is way less spoiled, because it's clubbier. I guess it probably wasn't even called tech house at the time, I don't even know. It's more club edits, filthy edits. It's a lot of good music. That is really relevant still. Really, it sounds good in the club. I mean, you could play some new stuff, new releases that sound great. You play that in the middle, and it's not going to sound out of place. You know, the crowd's going to go with it.
It's groovy.
Bass lines are nice. It works.
I mean, there's a lot of tunes that make actually that sounds a bit like what I've heard. It's just that now. They call it minimal or micro, and they had some effects on it, and that's it.
Some people say, don't they? Some people say we had this problem when I was in the UK. Some people would say, "I want tech house."
Well, that's tech house.
Loads of tech house, but what they actually wanted was the minimal tech house crossover, and that's like the change of a genre. You know, that's like.
It's funny what you're saying, because like me, I never myself as a DJ never really was looking for gender, or when I go dig in a shop, I take 20 records, I put them aside, and I listen and whatever. If I know the label or the artist, sometimes I'm saying, okay. I found one EP of an artist I know, and I'm like, oh damn, I have to get it. But most of the time when I go digging, I don't even know the artist, and I just listen. But not looking for a special genre, but more for a special track. I mean, like that makes me rock, and it can be house, it can be techno, it can be down tempo.
I think most people, you know, if you're a digger, then you like. I don't think I speak for myself when I say that you just like those special tunes in any genre. So we get people that come in, and of course they're going to maybe lean towards the house section a little bit. But if I just pull out a trancey house tune, or like a techno tune, and it's special and good, then they'll want it still, because it's just the type of people that come to the shop.
You have two types of diggers here. You have someone who.
I finished mine.
Okay.
Minimal is maybe a bad example, because usually people into minimal are just into minimal.
Keep talking, check my phone. I think we're late for dinner, mate.
But sometimes you'll have people who, okay, today I want to find a breakbeat tune, so I'm going to get all of the breaks, I'm going to listen to all of them. I've got an hour, I've got 2 hours, I don't care how long it takes me, I'm going to go through everything in breakbeat. And then you get people who go into breakbeat, they find out like a sick tune, and then they go into minimal, and they find out like a sick tune, and they go into techno, and then they go in electro, or they go in.
Yeah, the minimal is the only section where people don't go in there for the old minimal, and there is some we do have it. It eventually gets bought up, doesn't it? But obviously, it probably wasn't. It's more like minimal techno. The really old stuff,
We've since bought some
We've
newer
got a lot,
collections
well,
around
yeah.
Switzerland with the demand for that specific genre.
Yeah, we're always working quite hard on the minimal section, and there'll be what a lot of people would call tech house in the minimal section, but we call it minimal.
Yeah, because obviously the tech house that we think is tech house is we have
The
a
definition of a genre
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
self-constructed. I mean,
so when
People argue about it all the time.
no, that's not minimal. That's it's a
Yeah.
minimal house, and you're like.
I mean, you know, if it's if it's anything made after 2000 and I don't know 2010, 2012, and it's quite clubby and housey, but it's minimal, it will go in minimal. Unless the tech house section's lacking a bit, and we start to. There's a bit of a relationship between the minimal and tech house in terms of what we pick up, and we try to. Sometimes we go back through the minimal to make sure it's all right compared to the tech house being quite small. I mean, like
I think that's
said,
the next job, isn't it? To go through some of the sections in the shop.
Well, yeah, we did. I mean, the house section was 600 house tunes. It was just like house. When I first started doing the sections, it was with years, which was mental because just like 1995 to 1990 to 1995, just like 200 tunes, and then 1995 to 2000, another 200 tunes. 2000, 2010, 6 or 7 tunes. So it's like, why am I doing that? So it's more like, right, separate them: Euro house, vocal house, funky house, like deep house, Chicago, and then just like literally just as many subgenres as possible, so people can just go exactly to where they want. Because you get people going through house and diggers going. Getting angry with the female vocals. Of course, you don't want to be in here for 4 hours to find, a few tunes. You want to go straight to the section. So, it's been a big lesson for us to try to make the most out of a second-hand record shop. I think we've got our system down now. People come in and they're happy straight away. I mean, there was times where
We split the house up.
we split the house
The
up.
next big job
Techno.
is splitting techno.
I mean,
Yeah, I guess,
I
yeah.
lean towards house in terms of my personal taste, even though I've got loads of techno tunes that I play. But
I maybe lean to techno.
Yeah,
so
you do.
That.
I did house. You should probably do techno. mate. Yeah.
And maybe you have something to say or a record you want to talk about to finish this interview.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to. I mean, even though we're a second-hand record shop, we occasionally get in new stuff. I think. I mean, are you going to the toilet?
Yeah.
Oh, right, sound.
That's all right.
Yeah, of course, go to the toilet. Yeah,
That's
go for it.
completely alright.
Go for
Well,
it.
I know what you're going to talk about. I don't know.
Alright, okay, so basically the probably one of our favourite records of the year, like in terms of new stuff, is a tune by, well, it's called the Nota Tempo, so it's from Italy. It's a brand new label. It's been worked on and sat on for the last 2 years. The reason why we've got it, and we're actually the exclusive seller in Switzerland, I don't know what that means, but our good friend Pietro Bernasconi, who we booked for one of our install sessions last year, because when we were doing the install sessions, we were booking an international artist once a month, just to, we want to see their tunes. We want to, we've got all the locals, but we also want to inject a little bit of our personal taste in DJs. He made a mix with a guy called Andrea from Italy, and it was so good. And a couple of the tunes in that mix are actually in this new release that that mix was 2 years old, so he's had this release for quite a while, and we built a bit of a relationship together. He's now a really good friend of the shop. He's on our booking system as well, even though there's no parties to be booked for. Agency, booking agency called VG Bookings, and yeah, this is his label. I'll pull it off the shelf.
You can show the record on. You're the only sellers in Switzerland.
Well, we've actually
record.
just we are. I mean, we're just about to send, so it looks like that. It's beautiful. Not a tempo.
Out of blue.
Out of blue, late hours. We've actually just sent some to Andrea at Seal Records. He wants a few to sell in his shop. But yeah, in terms of Switzerland, I mean, there isn't that many really niche shops like ours that would just take ours.
Andreas at Seal Records is probably
the closest.
Yeah. And to be fair,
such a nice guy, by the way. You need to interview him. He's the nicest guy. I mean, you went to go see him.
He's more newer releases and second-hand stuff. He's still still has great.
You know, you'll go around, everything's got plastic on it, and everything's like a bit more expensive. But his shop is in the middle of the city. You know, it's probably a lot more expensive to run than a tatty old shop on the outskirts of Lausanne. So we're able to sell tunes for 4 francs. I don't think he has that luxury. But it's different shops, but we've got a nice little relationship going with him. But back to the release, this is the reason why part of the reason why we know Pietro Bernasconi, and we've been waiting for this for a long time. We've got plenty in the shop. I mean, we're not willing to put them out on the shelves and frisbee them around quickly. We're happy to sit on them because it's just timeless music that's just going to stay good. I'll put it on for you. Would it be better to just send you the link to the music so you can link it? Or
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, or the sounds that we will play of what I will, when I start to make the cuts in the video and all that, I will make you a message.
Cool.
For sure.